Hi everyone, welcome back to the Harvest to Table video channel, where we help you grow your own fresh produce at home. This is Stephen Albert. Mid-season is a critical time for green bean growers. Whether you're tending bush or pole beans, this is when plants are putting out pods and can benefit from a little extra attention to ensure continued growth and a generous harvest. Today, we will take a look at 10 tips to keep your green bean patch healthy, productive, and trouble-free through the second half of the growing season. Let's head to the garden and take a look. Tip 1. Fertilizing for continued growth. As your green beans shift energy from leafy growth to pod production, it's an ideal time to offer them a light, balanced feeding to support flower and pod development. At mid-season, avoid high nitrogen fertilizers. Too much nitrogen encourages leafy, vegetative growth at the expense of blossoms and beans. Instead, choose a balanced fertilizer with a nutrient ratio such as 5-5-5 or one slightly higher in phosphorus and potassium such as 4-6-8 or 3-4-6. These formulations help support root health, flowering, and steady fruit set without overstimulating leaf growth. Organic granular fertilizers labeled for vegetables often meet these needs and release nutrients slowly over time. Look for products derived from sources like bone meal, kelp meal, and feather meal. If you prefer a liquid option, a compost tea or fish emulsion mixed with seaweed extract, typically diluted to half strength, provides a gentle but effective boost. Compost tea also delivers beneficial microbes to the soil that enhance nutrient uptake. Apply fertilizer to moist soil to avoid burning the roots. Water thoroughly after feeding to help nutrients penetrate into the root zone. For pole beans in particular, a mid-season feeding can be especially helpful as they continue producing pods over a longer stretch. And if your plants look pale or seem slow to produce, a top dressing of compost or worm castings can give them a nutrient-rich refresh without the risk of overfeeding. Tip number 2. Let's talk about watering. Green beans need about 1 to 1.5 inches of water per week during mid-season, especially as they begin setting pods. This amount translates to roughly 0.6 to 1 gallon of water per square foot of garden space each week. If you're growing beans in a 10 square foot bed, aim for about 6 to 10 gallons of water weekly, depending on weather and soil conditions. Consistent soil moisture is key. Too little water can lead to tough, stringy beans and poor pod development, while overwatering may result in root rot or fungal issues. A moisture-retentive mulch, such as straw, shredded leaves, or compost, spread around the base of your plants will help regulate moisture levels and keep the soil cooler during hot spells. In hot or windy weather, soil can dry out quickly. Check moisture levels daily by inserting your finger into the soil. If the top inch feels dry, it's time to water. And when you do water, make sure to do so deeply and slowly to ensure the moisture penetrates down to the root zone. Early morning is the best time to water, as it gives plants time to absorb moisture before the heat of the day and reduces the risk of foliar diseases. Tip number 3. Mulching. Mulching is especially important in mid-season, when temperatures rise and soil dries out faster. Apply a 1 to 2 inch layer of straw, shredded leaves, or grass clippings around your green beans to help retain soil moisture, regulate temperature, and reduce weed competition. Just remember, avoid piling mulch directly against the stems to prevent rot. Tip number 4. Training and supporting beans. If you're growing pole beans, mid-season is the perfect time to check on your trellising and make any necessary adjustments. Pole beans are vigorous climbers and can grow 8 to 10 feet or more in a season, so sturdy support is essential. Common support systems include teepees made from bamboo or branches and vertical trellises with netting or wire or individual strings hung from an overhead frame. Each system works well as long as it keeps the vines upright, off the ground, and well spaced. As the vines grow, tendrils may stray from their supports or become tangled with neighboring plants, which can block airflow and create pockets of humidity, ideal conditions for fungal disease. Take a few minutes to gently guide wandering vines back to their support structure, winding them around poles or strings in a loose spiral. Avoid pulling too tightly, as the stems are delicate and can snap if stressed. Good vertical training not only improves plant health and productivity, but also makes harvesting much easier later in the season. Tip 5. Thin crowded plants for better airflow. If you planted your beans too closely, or maybe skipped thinning earlier in the season, now's a good time to thin out those crowded areas. Good airflow really helps reduce the risk of fungal diseases like powdery mildew or rust, especially during those humid summer days. So, just use clean scissors or snips to remove any excess foliage or weak stems. Tip 6. Watch for flower drop. If your green beans are flowering but not setting pods, stress could be the reason. High heat, drought, or even a nutrient imbalance can lead to flower drop, which interrupts the plant's reproductive cycle. Make sure your plants are getting consistent, even moisture, and avoid excess nitrogen, since that can encourage leafy growth instead of flowers and pods. A seaweed foliar spray applied early in the morning can help promote flower retention and reduce heat stress by delivering trace minerals and natural growth hormones. If a heat wave is in the forecast, providing some temporary shade during the hottest part of the day can also help minimize flower loss and keep your bean plants productive. Tip 7. Keep an eye on soil health. Green beans are light feeders, but repeated watering and hot weather can gradually leach nutrients from the soil, especially nitrogen and potassium. Top dressing with compost mid-season can refresh the soil, feed your plants, and support beneficial microbial life that helps roots absorb nutrients more efficiently. If your plants look pale, have yellowing leaves, or are producing fewer pods, a soil test might help you identify specific nutrient deficiencies. In some cases, a targeted amendment like blood meal for nitrogen or wood ash for potassium can help correct the imbalance and restore your plant's vigor. Tip 8. Pest and Disease Watch. By mid-season, pests like aphids, bean beetles, and spider mites may start to appear. Check the undersides of leaves for signs of infestation, yellow stippling, tiny webbing, or clusters of eggs. You may also notice distorted new growth or a sticky residue called honeydew, which is a common byproduct of aphid feeding that can attract ants and promote sooty mold. Organic methods like spraying insecticidal soap, releasing beneficial insects such as ladybugs or lacewings, or using neem oil can help manage pests without harming your plants or the environment. Apply treatments in the early morning or late evening to avoid harming pollinators. Keep the garden clean of fallen leaves and debris, and rotate crops each year to prevent disease and pest buildup in the soil. Tip 9. Harvesting for more beans. Regular harvesting is one of the best ways to keep your green beans producing. Once pods start forming, pick pods at least once every day or two. This signals the plant to keep making more beans instead of going to seed. Beans are best harvested when they're firm, smooth, and about the width of a pencil. To harvest, gently pinch or snap the bean off. Be careful not to pull or tug the bean to avoid damaging the plant. You can also use small garden scissors or snips for a cleaner cut, especially with thicker pods. Avoid letting pods grow too large or lumpy, as this can slow down further production and toughen the texture of the beans. Tip 10. Succession planting. If you planted bush beans early in the season, they may be winding down by mid-season. Don't let your garden beds sit idle. Now is the perfect time for a second planting. Bush beans mature quickly, often in 50 to 60 days, so you can sow a new crop in midsummer and enjoy fresh beans again before fall. Loosen the soil, add some fresh compost, and replant with confidence. If you're starting a new round of beans, plant during cooler parts of the day to avoid heat stress. Young seedlings can struggle in extreme heat. Water them gently but frequently until they establish, and keep the soil consistently moist. And there you have it. With just a few mid-season care steps, you can extend your bean harvest and enjoy tender, flavorful pods well into late summer. Keep up with watering, watch for pests, and don't forget to harvest often. Your green beans will reward you with a steady supply of garden fresh goodness. If you find this video helpful, give a thumbs up and subscribe to the Harvest to Table Videos channel for more garden tips. Please drop a comment below to let me know how your beans are doing this season. If you'd like to see my complete bean growing guide, click on the link in the notes below. Thanks for watching today. Until next time, this is Stephen Albert, wishing you happy gardening. See you in the next video.